I got my very first brief. I made a deal with these project managers. If I dressed up like Justin Timberlake and sang a song to him for a birthday party, then I could get a writing job.
Welcome to We Built This Brand, the podcast where we talk to the creators and collaborators behind brands and provide you with practical insights that you can use in growing your own business. Today, I'm talking to Nick Adams, a copywriter at GSD&M, and his claim to fame is a hilarious viral song he wrote for Pizza Hut, which was sung by the one and only Craig Robinson. It rose to fame when a girl on TikTok posted about the on-hold music she couldn't stop listening to.
When you put me on hold, I heard genuinely one of the best songs I've ever heard ever. It was like some guy singing about wings. Would it be really weird if I asked you guys to put me on hold?
Chicken wings are the best thing that's not pizza. That's right. Pizza Hut has chicken wings. Chicken wings! Stay on the phone. Order online now at pizzahut.com.
And as a producer of some pretty silly parody music myself, I was really excited for this conversation. So, without further ado, here's my interview with Nick Adams. All right, so today I'm joined by Nick Adams. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going?
Going good, man. Going good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you here. And today we've got a bit of a different show. Most of the time we built this brand, we're talking to, or at least recently, it feels like we've been talking to like chief marketing officers and people that are higher up the food chain doing a lot of the creative production, the actual building of the businesses. And this is We Built This Brand. It is a collective we. And the reason we created that is because I do want to interview people that are working on the ins and outs of creative branding, marketing, and content for brands. And so, this is a chance to do one of those deep dives. And today we've got Nick Adams, who's a copywriter with us. And we're going to be diving into something that makes him really unique, a song that went viral about chicken wings. I can't wait to get into it. And we'll talk more as we go about that. So, Nick, where I like to start these podcasts off is really just talking about where you got your start and kind of what led you to the formation of Chicken Wings. So let's start back at the beginning. Obviously, you did a parody song. So do you have a musical background? Like, where did that start for you?
Yeah, I taught myself piano when I was like 20 years old in college, and I just always kind of played around on there. Yeah, I love to sing, and I used to play in bands and stuff like that, so it's always just kind of been a part of what I do.
Nice. So did you, when you were in college, what was your major? Were you a writing major, an English major?
I studied advertising in college. Yeah, back at University of North Texas in 2013.
It looked like I read an article that was sent to me recently about you, and it mentioned that you started in a mailroom. So tell me more about that experience.
Yeah, so after I got out of college, I went to a lot of places, and I would cold call these creative directors and have them look at my book. They all wanted me to go to portfolio school, and I just did not want to do that. So eventually, I met a dude, and he got me a job in the mailroom at GSD&M, and I worked there for 3 years and kind of worked my way up and became a writer.
That's awesome. So you became a writer at GSD&M, and that sounded like a very challenging process of having to stick it out in the mailroom and stuff. The visual that comes to mind, I don't know if you've ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but that whole mailroom sequence from that the famous Pepe Silva is what comes to mind. So was it anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly like that. Yeah.
Nice. And then you got your opportunity. So a lot of persistence, a lot of focus on getting to where you wanted to go, basically.
Right. I got my very first brief. I made a deal with these project managers. If I dressed up like Justin Timberlake and sang a song to him for a birthday party, then I could get a writing job. So I did that. I didn't sell it, but it was an opportunity to get in front of clients, and I think it helped me for sure.
Yeah. Dressing up that takes a lot of gumption to not only like be in the mailroom, but then say, okay, I'm going to dress up. I'm going to do something a little silly here and put myself out there.
Yeah, I felt like a jackass walking in with a keyboard on my shoulder, but it paid off, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. You got to be willing to be a little silly to get some interest or, get your foot in the door. So I think that says a lot about you that you were willing to do that too. And I guess you have doing that, you probably have somewhat of a performance background. You said you were playing in bands and stuff like that. Was that something that kind of factored into that? Like, oh yeah, I could do that.
I think so. After college, I went to Chicago and did a lot of improv at like Second City and all those places up there. So yeah, I have a performance background. I don't think that performing is my strong suit. I love to be like a writer hiding in the booth up top, but I can perform sometimes.
So you start this career, you start this job, you're out of the mailroom. How did you get to the point where you were writing on hold music, I think is what it was?
I don't think it's a hard leap to get to on hold music from the mailroom. I think that's the job that nobody wants to do. So it's just like, let's give it to this kid. And so, yeah, they were giving me radio spots, and my boss at the time would always tell me from the first job, he's like, I want to win a Radio Mercury Award. And so we would always just try to write things to that standard. And I don't think we ever did it, but eventually that piece got to be in there.
And so this is where Pizza Hut comes in, right? So tell me about that process. What got you to the point where you were like, I'm just gonna belt it and do this crazy song?
Our spokesperson was Craig Robinson at the time, and we had him for like 3 hours, and we were going to record 8 spots with him. And I was a huge Craig Robinson fan, so I knew that he could sing and play piano. And I thought, let me just write a song for him. I would love to do this. And so I did, and I recorded a demo for him, and we gave him the demo, and he played it pretty much exactly like it. I sang it better, but he made a better piano part for it. Yeah, he loved the song. He did it, and that's it.
So people got into it. They got into and then it was discovered, right? I'm sure it was it an immediate success, or was it just like, cool, he did it, he recorded it?
Yeah, he did it and he recorded it. It was in 2021. So it was just like a fun thing for me, like being a Craig fan. I was like, I love this. It was on my website, but we didn't think anything of it. And then 2024, I was on paternity leave, and my aunt sends me a news article that she got from Denver and saying about Pizza Hut hold music going viral. And she's like, did you do this? And I read it and I was like, hell yeah, I did that.
That's a really cool moment, I'm sure. A lot of validation in that. It's like, oh yeah, okay, now, not that you weren't doing anything important before, but like, okay, now I've got something that's really stuck with the culture. I'm assuming this was your first real big breakthrough. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Yeah. Well, we've done fun things in the past, but nothing that made a splash like this, for sure.
So when it comes to creating songs like this, so was it just in an hour that you created it? Like, walk me through the creative process for these types of projects. Like, what's your approach to creating music like this?
Creating a song about chicken wings. I think I was working from home at the time, and I think just one night I sat down on my piano. There was probably some drugs involved, but I just started singing about chicken wings. Totally
legal drugs, of course.
Right. Legal ones in Texas, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So then you got it and then send it off to Craig. I've been a fan of Craig Robinson's as well since I was like, golly, I guess since The Office is when I really first noticed him. I was like, this guy's cool. brought in a unique vibe to the show, but that's neat that you got to work with him. And I remember those campaigns with Pizza Hut because it was just different. It was unique. So were you on the bigger project as well, helping out with that, or was it just really the on hold music that you were a part of?
No, I did a couple of TV spots. My first job out of the mailroom was I won the Stuffed Crust TV spot. So it was like I got out of the mailroom, I made a Stuffed Crust TV commercial. That was like a dream come true. And then it was COVID still, so we were doing remote shoots, but I got to just like write alt jokes for Craig. And I thought that was like the peak of my career, just like writing things for him to say. And I love that.
So the song became successful. What happened after that? Because you won some big awards for this.
Yeah, we got a Radio Mercury Award, the first ever from GSD&M, which is pretty cool. And then it got a Cannes shortlist, which they say is very cool.
Did you get to go to Cannes for that?
No, of course I did not go to Cannes, but everyone else did, and they had a great time.
That's really cool. So what has been the end result of this campaign? Like what have you seen as, like, obviously there's a virality to it. Has there been any other, outside of the awards, has there been anything else that you've seen as a result of this? Like, how has it impacted your career?
I mean, I got to go to New York and go to an award show. That was pretty cool. The agency says my name a lot more now, and that's different. I think, yeah, nothing's really changed too much yet. I'm still working on the same things, but hopefully it will soon.
So I guess from a work perspective, like what are you working, like what kinds of things are you working on now? I don't want to pry too deep because I know some of that's probably confidential, but like what are the kinds of things you're working on?
I've been doing a campaign for a grocery store right now, which is pretty fun. we've done some new business pitches, and I have another song that kind of helped us win a new business pitch. So there's more music, little heartfelt moments in the grocery things, lots of fun stuff.
Is it safe to say that like songwriting then is your specialty? Has that kind of become your thing since you got started in this, or?
No, and I don't want songwriting I don't want to be the songwriter. I want to be, I would say like I'm a comedy first writer. I just want to do funny stuff. And if I have to write a song to be funny, then I'll do that. But I want to get the call when we need something funny, and the Nick comes in.
You said you worked at Second City, or not worked at, but I guess you were involved with Second City at some point.
Yeah, I like to say I studied there.
Studied there. There we go. What is that like? I think that's like you can pay for classes and do things like that. And some people go on to SNL, and I know we actually have a client whose wife studied at Second City for a while. So that's been a pretty neat experience to have feedback input on that stuff. So comedy's more your thing. What kind of comedy would you say like really inspires you when you're thinking about comedic content for campaigns?
When I write for campaigns, I always picture a brand as a character. So like when you write for Pizza Hut is a character. It's this person that loves pizza. When I first got kicked off on the brand, it was a 13-year-old stuck in a 30-year-old's body. And so I always just look at everything through that lens and just things that I think would be funny coming out of a brand's mouth, I guess.
And is it when you're in these processes, is it a lot of like back and forth with the client? Do they come to you and just say, here you go, create it and good luck? Or what is that process like?
I mean, there's a lot of back and forth with the client, but as far as radio goes, they were pretty hands off with that. It's kind of like the Wild West. One person is checking off on things, but they're really not paying too much attention, it seems like.
That can be fun when you get to have that creative vacuum where you're just like, I'm going to experiment and do what I want. And if they think it's crazy, then good luck. It's what they pay me for.
Exactly.
We had a project a while back where we did a Real Men of Genius parody. And that was one of those where it was kind of like, just do it. I don't care what you do. Just bring us something. And that one worked out really well. But that's really neat. So what are some other things you're passionate about in branding? You said you don't want to do music as like the thing you're known for. So, and comedy is the thing you want to do. So is there something specific within copywriting where you're like, man, if I could go this direction, this is my dream within copywriting?
No, I think just having a brave client that's down for whatever. And if you come up with a crazy idea that they'll do, then that's what I want to do.
What is top of mind for you? Like where things are headed? Like, do you see AI being more a part of your creative process, or is there something else in tech or something else in terms of trends that you're seeing, like TikTok versus Instagram or anything like that? That's what's top of mind in those regards.
Well, I'm not too worried about AI right now because I think on that new business pitch that I was talking about where we wrote the song, we had some people run the song through AI first and it spit out a version and it was horrible and I had to come in. It took me longer, but I wrote a better song than that computer did. So I'm really not worried about AI taking my job yet because I don't think they have nuances of things that we do. So I'm not worried about that. I think TikTok is a really cool thing because I mean, that's where the Chicken Wing song got popular, was on TikTok. So the fact that this girl recorded it and put it on there and people liked it there, it gave new life to this whole message that was really cool.
So do you have any creative stuff you do outside of, say, your day job? Is there anything that you mentioned being in bands and stuff like that? Are you doing improv? Are you doing music? Like anything like that you're pursuing?
I play a lot of music at home. I always say that I like to make my work fun enough that I don't have to work outside of work. So do stuff that I like and fulfills me and then go home and I don't have to do that. I have a 6-month-old daughter right now, so I feel like that's my my hobby outside of work is trying to raise that girl.
Congratulations as a father of two. As a father of two, I feel you. You're in the calm before the storm. I will just say that.
She's very wiggly right now, and she's starting to move out of our laps and stuff. So it's getting hard already.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being a parent, and that's really a great place to be be able to do what you enjoy, stick with that, and then being able to come home and focus on family. I mean, that's really key. So
yeah, one day I would love to be a TV writer, but until then, if I can just make fun stuff here, then I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely seen that trajectory before. People go from being copywriters to, I've gotten an idea for a TV show, and you pitch it, and next thing you know, it takes off. So, well, last question we always ask on the show is, what brand do you admire the most right now? So, would just love to know from you, Nick. Like, is there a brand that you're like, man, this is when I think about branding and marketing, this is the one I really look to right now.
I think Tubi's really cool. I still think about their Super Bowl thing a couple years ago. Like that made me laugh out loud. And it scared the shit out of me too, because I was in bed and by myself and the channel changed and I thought somebody was in the house. I've always loved Little Caesars branding. I think that they're so funny and they don't have to talk about pizza. They don't have to make jokes about pizza or RTBs. It's just like really funny stuff and always memorable. Yeah, just things like that. I love Skittles too. Skittles never gets old.
Yeah, Skittles always does the weirdest, most esoteric commercials, I feel like.
Dave's Hot Chicken. Have you seen Dave's Hot Chicken stuff?
I don't think I have. No.
That's one of my favorite things right now.
I'm going to have to check it out. Is that like a chain restaurant or?
Yeah, chain restaurant, but their whole thing is don't die before you try it, and it's just very dark, and I love it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of responses from folks that say Liquid Death is their favorite. So sounds like it's along those lines.
Yeah, I think it's from the same people that do a lot of Liquid Death stuff as well. Partyland.
Now, I always enjoy the more absurd, weird commercials. So I'll have to check that out. Dave's Hot Chicken. It's not local to me, so I'm curious. I'm curious about it now. So awesome. All right. Well, Nick, thank you for your time. If people want to get connected with you, where can they reach out? Where can they find you?
Find me at bignickcreative.com.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll let people know to go to bignickcreative.com and go from there. So awesome. Well, Nick, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks for checking out this episode of We Built This Brand. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on your player of choice. And you can also keep up with the podcast on our website at webuiltthisbrand.com. If you like this episode, please give the podcast a 5-star review and make sure to tell all your friends about it so we can continue to build this brand.
Here we go. Chicken wing, you're the best thing that's not pizza. That's right. Pizza Hut has chicken wings, and with 9 different signature flavors to choose from.